Hello, my name is Alfredo Quezada Aranda Vázquez, and this work was made for the English Specialized in Cinema class for the Animart school.
Free my mind, no problem, right? My back! Oh, my back!
Why do we fall? This is a phrase that has always resonated in our minds thanks to Christopher Nolan's trilogy. But let's take it to a simpler, more real concept. If you fall, would you stay on the ground? Just think about it for a minute. You have to get up at some point, don't you? What the hell are you doing lying there? Don't you have things to do? Sometimes we tend to believe that movies that contain any part of fiction don't apply to real life, but that's because we tend to overcomplicate the message. It's part of the human condition to want to get up. We can't live any other way. And no matter how long we fall, or how terrible the hole we find ourselves is in, as long as there is life, we can be sure that we will always come out ahead. Many stories have a message like this, which can sometimes look complicated on the surface, but if we realize, on the inside, they all apply to us. This is the same principle which an archetype is based, different from a stereotype, because an archetype is a series of behaviors in which we all can identify in one way or another, and thanks to them, many characters seem interesting to us. We don't know why, but we simply want to know more about them. Among these archetypes, there is one of the warrior. You've heard of him, or at least you've seen him in action. The warrior is the typical hero or protagonist of any story. Unfortunately, the fall in the life of a hero is always present. There are times when people believe that a warrior is the one who always wins. However, there is always a moment in any story where the warrior loses. We could say he falls. And this is because a warrior is not the one who wins every battle. A warrior is the one who continues to fight, despite having fallen. Is the one who always gets up. That allows that the archetype of the warrior always finds peace at the end of his journey. He doesn't obtain strength or power, because the warrior knows that those always was in him. What he needed to understand was that it wasn't what he needed to get up. So, why do we fall? Have you not yet thought about your answer? Let me help you then. Batman is a character that has had several changes throughout history, but there is a principle that has always accompanied him no matter how we came to know him. There is always a sense of unwavering strength in him. But don't other superheroes have that too? What makes Batman so special? It's not because he doesn't have superpowers. It's something simpler than that. The tragedy. If there is one thing that has always been consistent in the world of Batman, it is the fall. When we see Superman fight another villain, no matter how strong he is, we get excited, but we don't get scared. We know he's going to win. We just want to know in what way. It's not different in Batman. Or did you ever think he would really die? But when Superman falls, it's because he was beaten. It's Superman, for God's sake. What other reason would he have to fall? But Batman? Have you ever seen him fight?
Oh, your money! You dare? I understand.
Oof, I don't think that's going to come out with Bengay. Wait, I don't understand. So, why does Batman connect more with us if he loses most of the time? Well, because Batman knows the answer to the question I've been asking since the beginning of this video. Do you know why we fall? Simple, because it's inevitable. Inevitable. So why? Why do you keep getting up, Batman? To protect them?
To them, you're just a freak. Like me. They need you right now. When they don't, they'll cast you out. Like a leper. See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve.
Joker is the other side of Batman. He's the antithesis. And you know why? Because he's the real proof of what would happen if a person doesn't get up. Because if we're going to fall again anyway, what is the point? This is where the archetype of the trickster, the liar, comes in. The trickster is very curious, since there are many forms and flavors, but the one we will focus on today is the worst of all, the chaotic one. This is the person that always delights in seeing the fall of great men. However, they do not wish to take their place, they do not wish to have their responsibilities. But if that is the case, then why does it delight on the suffering of the hero? It is simple, because, very deep in them, they want to prove that they are not the only ones who can fall.
I mean, what is it with you? What made you what you are? Girlfriend killed by the mob, maybe? Brother carved up by some mugger? Something like that, I know. Because something like that happened to me. My point is, I went crazy. And I'm smart enough to admit it. Why can't you? By clinging to reality, you're denying the reality of the situation. I mean, do you ever think about how many times we've come close to World War III over a flock of geese on a computer screen? Silly goose, it's all a joke. Everything anybody's ever valued or struggled for, it's monstrous. Why can't you see the funny side? Why aren't you laughing?
So, if we all fall, why get up? What's the point? And at least for me, that's what attracts me to Batman. It's not because he doesn't have superpowers, because he has money or drive fancy cars. What I feel makes Batman so special is that he is the one who has fallen the hardest. He has suffered incredible losses, has had to endure great trials, and all this has been because since that fateful night, his life has been defined by tragedy. But that is not the point, because now I want you to look in the mirror and ask yourself, has that person fallen? Has that person had a bad day? You don't have to answer me, because I had to. And yet, you are not flying hospitals, not laughing alone in your room, and I will tell you why. Because you are strong. We don't need to have superpowers or great fortunes to be the protagonist of our own story. We don't need to beat someone to become warriors, because we all fight every day, and just as I have fought, I know you will too. Because I know that, unlike the Joker, you have already risen, and will continue to do so, because a warrior is not the one who always wins, but the one who continues, in spite of having fallen. Now tell me, why do we fall?